Did you know that anger has the ability to boil your blood cells, infuse you with poison, regenerate cells, that fumes you with heat, that generates a pulse, that blinds you, that doesn't allow you to actually see who's standing in front of you anymore? It removes the ability of any self-control. It strips you from any natural human behavior to speak and give and take, and even potentially negotiate. Anger is a state that puts you behind. It never brings you forward. Retaliation, reactiveness, blows up and explodes a whole heap of negative energy throughout every cell, every nerve, every bone, including your heart. It pounces a race into your brain where it shuts down your frontal lobe, and it no longer allows you the ability to think for yourself. It overrides every intentional or non-intentional inner truth of who you really are. It completely takes over. Is that something you want to continue to live in? Or is that something that you want to continue to witness with a partner that is choosing to not change, or choosing not to hold themselves accountable for their silly reactions? Or you choosing to say, this is me and that's how I was born and I'm not going to change? Is that something you're willing to not change now that you're listening to this video? Do you understand the depth of damage that happens in your body when you're in rage? Did you know that rage has multiple layers, and it's just the pivotal point of a response that you give to someone based on deep hurt, maybe even guilt, fear, or even sadness? Did you know that there are layers underneath that? As a first reactional response, which is anger, is because something deeply rooted underneath doesn't know how to show up, hasn't been trained to regulate, hasn't learned to negotiate what's going on, to express itself through that vulnerability. And so the first response and reaction will be the anger. And so your body takes a hold on you, and now you lose complete control. And that's why when your nervous system is calm, you don't remember every detail. And if you do, you don't think it was so high-pitched and it was so reactional the way the other person received it. That creates diseases in your heart. Your heart over time begins to fall into sourness, bitterness, darkness, and then your mind learns to take control into an autopilot, because your heart now doesn't know how to navigate your mind. Your mind, naturally, somebody's got to take over the body and allow it to move, right? And so it's the mind that takes over and takes full control. Somebody's going to clean up the house, isn't it? Somebody needs to open the door. Somebody needs to be guard of something. And if your heart darkens from bitterness and rage and constant arguments back and forth, it gets parked on one side, and now your control you have lost to your mind. And that's why when you look at people that lose parts of their mind and they become quite reactional, people say, he's lost his mind or she's lost her mind. Why do you think they say these statements? They haven't lost their mind. They've lost the attachment that their heart had control over their mind. And when the heart gets parked, the mind takes over, and they look like they've lost their mind. But they've lost the driven part of compassion, truth, honesty, vulnerability, love within their heart, faith, and most largely the foundation of it all, trusting themselves. And so they give it up very unconsciously to anger and rage. It overrides, it takes over, it becomes a condition, and it shows every day in their life. The bitterness of the heart creates this over time. It's time to look inward and reconnect those veins back to the vagus nerve from the heart, and allow yourself to come back in. And the way you do that is breathing. Breathing through the pain, sitting for a few moments, not to dwell and be the victim, but sitting enough to recognize that I am hurting. I am sad. I feel guilt. I feel betrayed. I feel a weight of shame. Long enough that the heart can pump blood again, rationalize in such a way that it can send the signal and then you can take back control. Hence why breath work is so valuable. Hence why belief in something larger than yourself creates alignment, because it brings you back into that position of contemplation. But when you have a separation of faith, you lose particles of yourself. Hence why faith and believing something greater than anything that a human being can create allows alignment over time. At the beginning, it feels like a gap because there's no more congruency between the mind, which is the brain, and the heart. And so our job is to reignite them. In order to do that is we begin with our breath. Just breathing in and releasing and surrendering to the emotion that was layered underneath, and then giving it to someone else other than self to help us regulate. Allowing maybe sometimes a therapist to carry that space. Allowing God to sit in that and tell him, guide me, show me the way. Contemplate. Is this how I want to continue my life? If it's a no, then give up the chokehold. Give up holding on to the pain and just free it. Let it go. And if you don't know where to let it go to something greater than yourself. I guarantee that you begin to self-regulate and you'll find that, you know what, nothing really matters. Life is so short anyway. I mean, how much more days and years and decades are you going to live? I mean, how much have you lived already? I'm around the corner from 40, so 40 years, good luck if I get another 40. So I'm closer to death every day. Aren't you the same? Why do I have to hold on? Why do you hold on? Why couldn't you just surrender and free it? And I know it's easier said than done, definitely, and I agree. It took me 7 years to come out of chronic depression. It took me roughly 6 years to come out of a pinched nerve that was a creation of hurt. 6 years back and forth with doctors telling me, you need a certain surgery that can create a paralysis where you could potentially not walk, something I wasn't willing to do when I was breastfeeding my son. And by the time I had number 3, I was so confined and I couldn't move left to right. And part and parcel of it, I discovered over time that it was the lack of flexibility that I had within myself that held back that state. And when I released the emotion of hurt and I was like, hey man, this is not serving me. Do you believe the pinched nerve dissipated? You want to call it psychosomatic? Call it whatever you like. It doesn't really matter. What was no longer. The moment I recognized the attachment it was to and freed it at its core, it never had a grip on me after that. What made that happen? Not only breath work, but faith that I deserved better. Is it easy to believe in yourself? Hell no, not when you haven't believed in yourself for many years. No, definitely not. But can it be built over time? Yeah. The way a child can build trust within themselves when they fall down after crawling and learning to stand, and the mummy begins to praise them. You've got this, you've got this. You never tell your child that, hey, you fell and this is the last of time and you're never going to be able to walk. I've never seen a mum do that. Let's be real. Maybe a minority somewhere out there, but that's a whole different story for another video. But you praise them. You've got this. Get up, get up, get up. Why couldn't you do that to yourself? Why couldn't you be your own cheerleader? What would happen if you did? Okay, I fell down. Let's go. Come on, we've got this. We'll do it again and again and again. What happens after that? You stand, you walk, you run. You become unstoppable. You become free, like a child did. Use that as an example, that every time you fall down, you can get back up. And the one that will push you back up and pull you forward is you. When you surrender to trusting yourself. And the moment you betray that trust, get up and push again until you learn intervals by intervals to build that trust, to love yourself again, to fall in love with you, to believe you deserve more. From my heart to your heart, as always.